Vietnamese president received Malaysian Prime Minister and U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate.
Luong District, Nghe An Province was recognized as meeting new rural standards.
Abnormal heavy rain hit the central region. Floodwaters reached a record level in the past 10 years.
Hello, it's me, Yin again, and so good to see you again in today's news. Continuing his activities in San Francisco City, U.S. on the morning of November 17th, Vietnamese President Vo Van Thuong just had a meeting with Malaysian Prime Minister Envoy and the U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, John Kerry.
At the meeting with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, President Vo Van Thuong affirmed that Vietnam treasures the multifaceted cooperation with Malaysia. He suggested Malaysia create conditions for Vietnam to persuade the European Union to remove the yellow card warning against Vietnam's fisheries sectors. At the meeting with U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry, the president affirmed that Vietnam wishes to cooperate with the U.S. in fields that are suitable to Vietnam's socio-economic conditions, meeting the interests and concerns of both sides. For his part, Mr. John Kerry affirmed that the U.S. always values relations with Vietnam and supports Vietnam in playing an active role in the region. The U.S. will also support Vietnam in improving its management capacity in pollution control and sustainable resource management.
The Deputy Prime Minister Trần Lưu Quang has signed decision number 1370 to recognize Luong District, Nghệ An Province for meeting new rural standards in 2022.
Luong District has 32 out of 32 communes recognized as meeting new rural standards, reaching a rate of 100%. Luong Town meets civilized urban standards. 100% of the program's capital construction investment projects are implemented in accordance with procedures of the law on public investment. In particular, Luong District has no outstanding capital construction debt in implementing new rural construction. The Deputy Prime Minister assigned the People's Committee of Nghe An Province to be responsible for announcing and rewarding according to regulations, direct the People's Committee of Luong District to continue to maintain and improve the quality of criteria, focusing on production and environmental criteria to ensure sustainability in new rural construction.
Meanwhile, heavy rain over the past week has caused heavy damages in many provinces and cities in the central region. At the moment, localities are focusing on quickly overcoming the consequences of natural disasters.
The National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting informed that the complicated flooding in central provinces is also a widespread flooding. The area from Ha Tin to Con Hoa and the eastern central highlands recorded rainfall over 500 millimeters. Thua Thien Hue suffered the biggest flood in the past 10 years. Some points recorded extreme rainfall over 1,000 millimeters, which caused widespread flooding. Thousands of houses submerged in floodwaters. Floods in the central region have killed 6 people. There are still nearly 13,000 flooded houses.
Upcoming next are some updated news.
At Hue Gi International Border Gate of Lang Son, in the presence of representatives of leaders of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Lang Son Provincial People's Committee, Chinese Embassy in Vietnam and the Chinese General Administration of Customs, AVANEST Vietnam Nutrition Joint Stock Company held a ceremony to export the first batch of bird's nest to the Chinese market. This is the first Vietnamese enterprise to be granted a code by the Chinese General Administration of Customs to export bird's nest products from Vietnam to the Chinese market. Thus, after more than 5 years of negotiation efforts, Vietnam's bird's nest products have had an official export license to the Chinese market, one of the world's most potential markets for bird's nest consumption.
More than 2 decades later, the terrorist Osama bin Laden's anti-Semitic letter has spread on social networks. Bin Laden's letter justifying his terrorist act against Americans made a splash on social media and attracted the activists' imagination about Hamas-Israel conflict. In the Bin Laden's 2002 letter to America, Bin Laden condemned America's support for Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory. He argued that Jews controlled American policies, capital, and the media. TikTok's short-form video app said it will prohibit content that promotes Osama bin Laden's 2002 letter.
The European Union will extend glyphosate's authorization for 10 years, even though its member states failed to agree over the active ingredient in Bayer AG's Roundup weed killer. Bayer welcomed the EU executive's decision. On the contrary, this decision was condemned by environmental groups, including Greenpeace. Glyphosate has proved divisive since the World Health Organization's Cancer Research Agency concluded in 2015 that it was probably carcinogenic to humans. Glyphosate has been widely used for decades by farmers and in other uses such as to clear weeds from railway lines.
Now let's move to today's story. Within the framework of the discussion program on the potential advantages of Nghệ An province and strategic orientation of socio-economic development in Western Nghệ An, 162 typical products of Western districts will be displayed and promoted at the exhibition. The event takes place from 17th to 18th November at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development.
The visitor's impression of products from Western Nghệ An localities is clear origin with packaging, labels, and ensuring food hygiene and safety according to regulations.
The stalls at here are very unique. It is truly a specialty of Nghệ An province.
The display of Nghệ An province's featured products at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is an opportunity for the western districts of Nghệ An to promote their potential and advantages. Therefore, all localities bring the most typical products of agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, brocade products, high-tech agricultural products to the exhibition.
From the beginning, we determined that this was a huge opportunity, so featured products were carefully selected to introduce to customers.
The event is expected to help units, businesses, craft villages, and cooperatives in the western region of Nghệ An expand their markets and find customers so that their products get closer and closer to a large number of customers and tourists.
It's the end of the show today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now and have a nice weekend.